Okay. Let me get everything settled here. Happy Tuesday, y'all. I know I wasn't here yesterday, but it was for a very good cause. I was not here yesterday, because it was for a very good cause. I was volunteering for Halloween for a local nonprofit, K. Rousseau Foundation. So I postponed the show for one night, but we are back on tonight with NPL Legal Dish. Okay, so we are gonna get started at 7:05. I have some great stories for you guys tonight. Drake is suing himself, kind of. What else do we have for you guys tonight? Um, Bill Nye is out here. Bill Nye the Science Guy is not a pushover. Hello, Alex, the mortgage broker. He's coming. He's coming for you counterfeiters out here. What else? Apple, the company that takes all our money. They are suing the SPTO. Joe Exotic is suing people from prison. I didn't think we were going to hear from him again, but Joe is back at it. What else? Red Bull has lost a legal battle over in Europe. Um, and the Missouri police want you to know that they are not down with the wacky tobacco. Okay, so we have these stories and more this evening. Um, I encourage you, grab something to drink, grab a snack, and something maybe to record some notes with. We're gonna have a good time and we're gonna learn at the same time. Okay, so strap in, relax. If you don't know who I am, don't worry. I'm gonna give my intro very, very soon. Let me grab myself a bottle of water. I think all my Halloween shenanigans caught up with me today. Because my voice is raspy. Hey, Raymond Kim, 99.11. All right, we are starting at 7:05. Let me see, what's this? Um, this is not the time to be promoting your, whatever, Bitcoins. This is just a cool space. If you start spamming the comments, I'm gonna block you. Um, because the comments are for questions and comments relative to our discussion. All right. Okay. So we're getting started in less than 2 minutes. If you have friends who are in the startup phase, who are interested in starting their own business, or who just like, hearing about celebrities and their shenanigans, bring them on into the room. Before we start, we want to say, hey, AP Jackson, hello, girl. I haven't seen you in a minute. Before we start, I want to say RIP to Takeoff. Takeoff didn't bother nobody. He just made music and minded his business. And unfortunately, he was taken from us too soon. So we pray for his family and, his loved ones that, their hearts would be healed in this really tragic time. Like, died for nothing. Um, but we are going to get started very, very soon. So, get comfy, y'all. I can't sing tonight, but I'll sing for y'all another time. All right. So yeah, and I see some new faces, especially on Clubhouse. I'm really excited about that. I can't wait to chat with you guys. All right, it's 7:05, so let's get started, okay? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Happy Tuesday, everybody. Welcome to NPL Legal Dish. This is my broadcast. It's usually on Mondays, but it's on Tuesday today. This is my broadcast where I teach business and legal concepts using pop culture and celebrity news. If this is your first time seeing my voice or seeing my face or hearing hearing my voice and you're like, who's this lady? I don't know. Why should I listen to her? My name is Natalie Pure Lewis. I'm the host of the show, and I'm the owner and operator of NPL Consulting LLC, a business formation firm. What that means is I help people like yourself get your business paperwork together. So things like making sure you have your articles of incorporation with the state, getting your EIN numbers and DUNS numbers so you can, pay salaries and get your products into big box stores, protecting your intellectual property through trademarks, patents, and copyrights, making sure you have contracts so you don't get left holding the bag with partners and clients, and teaching you hiring and training strategies so you don't get sued for discrimination. I help you do all of this and more. If you're wondering why I'm qualified to help you do these things, I am a licensed attorney. I have been one for 16 years and counting. I've started multiple businesses for myself and others, both online and offline. I've had many careers in the realms of entrepreneurship, the law, education, hospitality, and administrative support. And most important, I am very passionate about making business and legal education as accessible to everyone as possible. Not everybody has the time, the money, or the desire to go to business school or to law school, but a lot of you have amazing business ideas. And if you're going to be successful in business, there are just some things that you need to know. There's no way around it. So if you are in the startup phase of your business and you're looking for some legal guidance, you don't know where to find the paperwork, you don't know what you need to file, that is what I do. Connect with me. Go to linktr.ee/NPL Consulting Firm. There you can book yourself a free 15-minute consultation if you're a first-time client. You can also, excuse me, download my free biz launch cheat sheet that will help you choose and start your dream business in 7 days or less. Linktree/NPL Consulting Firm is also where you can find my digital products. I do a lot of ebooks and video trainings, and it's also where you can connect with my other social media platforms. So everything that you want to know having to do with me, you can connect with at Linktree/NPL Consulting Firm. Okay. But that is enough, on the business side. Let's get to the fun part and why we are here. So just in case we have some new people who might not know how this show goes, this is how it works. I pull stories from the news, stories from blog sites, stories that you guys send to me, and I pull the ones that have lessons that we can learn as business owners, and we talk about them, okay? So this is a time for you to get involved. Ask your questions, give your comments as long as they are respectful. Really get involved because we learn better when we engage. Okay. Did I want to say anything else? No, I don't have an NPL nugget this week. Things have been a little crazy the last few days, but we're gonna have a good time. Okay, so let's get started. Our first story. If you are a Drake fan, give me a champagne emoji for Champagne Poppy. Okay. If you are a Drake fan, give me a champagne emoji for Champagne Poppy. All right. Now we all know Drake. I call Drake the male Beyonce because Drake don't miss, right? He all his songs seem to hit. He's got multiple businesses, deals, money everywhere, right? So, and if you ask somebody whether or not they want to admit it, you might want to be Drake, every now and again. Well, someone has taken that to new heights, okay? There is a gentleman who had been making the rounds on the internet. At the time, he was going by the IG name Izzy Drake, Izzyyy Drake. You know how Drake says Drizzy Drake? This guy was going by Izzy Drake. Izzy Drake looks a lot like Aubrey Graham. Aubrey Graham. He because of that, he's played it up so much that he's even gotten the same, hair designs that Drake has. That little heart that Drake had on his head. And because Izzy Drake looked so much like Drake, and he dressed like Drake, he wore OVO sweatsuits and things like that, he was getting bookings and getting a lot of deals. He would go to the club and he would get bottles. He was even getting booked for performances, and if you did, and he is a performer in his own right, right? He's not just impersonating Drake. He actually has his own record company called Rapture's Records, right? So Izzy Drake, he was gaining popularity because he looked like Aubrey Graham, Drake. And um, Aubrey's people apparently caught wind of it, and they sent him a cease and desist. They said, look, you're out here wearing OVO merch and you're making yourself look like Drake and you're getting bookings and, basically trying to bank off the fact that you look like Drake. And we are saying, stop. You are tarnishing the OVO brand. You are not a member of OVO. You are not Drake. So stop being out here pretending that you are Drake. Now, not only did Izzy Drake get a cease and desist from Drake's litigation team or legal team, he's also been banned from IG. Instagram took down his original Instagram account. It was IZZYY Drake. His new Instagram is Izzy Famous, IZZYY Famous. Okay, so this gentleman who, he could probably make good money as an official Drake impersonator, but he's trying to make money off Drake's name without, even acknowledging it. He's just sliding through, and Drake is like, hold up, hold up, hold up. You're gonna at least, have to pay homage. You're not gonna come out here impersonating me. Celebrities have a right to their image, right? The way celebrities look a lot of times is very synonymous with their brand, especially if they have brands like OVO. So Drake and his people have told Izzy Drake, to calm it down, and stop, trying to bank off the fact that you look like a celebrity. Okay. But what do you think about that? Do you think that Drake's people should be so concerned about that? Is it a big deal, or or should they have just let him do his thing? Is it really that big of a deal for somebody to be out here and because they look like Drake, they're getting opportunities? What do y'all think? Hmm? Like for me, the issue is whether fake Drake is telling people that he's not really Drake. That's what it is for me. Okay. Let me know your comments or questions in the comment box. Okay. All right. Next story. My P Valley fans. If you are a P Valley fan, give me a pink give me a pink heart emoji. If you are a P Valley fan, give me a pink heart emoji. You know what I'm talking about? Uncle Clifford, Mercedes, Mississippi. They got that girl Whisper, Roulette, Lil Murder, Diamonds. We got P Valley fans here. Anyway, whether or not you've watched P Valley, thank you, AP Jackson. Whether or not you've watched P Valley, you have probably seen ads for it. You may have heard people talking about it. And I don't know if you guys remember, but a while ago, I told you guys about a lawsuit that was being filed by one of the original members of Brownstone, Nikki Gilbert. So during the first season of P Valley, Nikki Gilbert filed a copyright infringement lawsuit and said that the creators of P Valley stole her idea. She had a movie called Soul Kittens Cabaret. That's some time ago, starring Fantasia. Anyway, so Nikki Gilbert had sued them for copyright infringement. And to this day, she still hasn't gotten a court date for this copyright infringement lawsuit. And she is in the news fuming mad. She's, especially because if you didn't know, P Valley has been picked up for 2 more seasons. So there will be a season 3 and season 4. And Nikki Gilbert basically feels like she's being slapped in the face every time she sees P Valley on the screen. She's like, I just want a court date. Now we talked about this story before. I asked you guys, had anybody seen Soul Kittens Cabaret? Not one person had. And even when I read the description, Soul Kittens Cabaret is a musical. P Valley is far from a musical, okay? So the reason why I brought this up is that when you are claiming copyright infringement, it needs to be more than a vague idea. There need to be specific scenes, dialogue, the way things are set up so that there is no mistake that the two can be mistaken for each other. The idea of, women in a not so highly favored profession, making a way out of no way, that's not a new story. That's a lot. There's a lot of movies. Anybody see what was that movie with J-Lo, Hustlers or whatever, the one with the strippers? Anyway, but all I got to say is to Nikki Gilbert is, good God, girl, get a grip, give it up. But that's just me. What y'all think? Do you think that Nikki Gilbert has a claim on, about this P-Valley, about P-Valley stealing her idea? What do you think? AP Jackson, what you think? Mm, mm, mm. Okay. Let me know. All right. Um, yeah, and P-Valley next season ain't coming till like 2024, so we'll just have to wait. Anyway, next story. If you are an Apple user, if you have any Apple products, particularly an Apple, no, if you have any Apple product, give me an Apple emoji in the comments. I have an iPhone, I have Hey Evelyn, I have an iPhone, I have a Mac. I actually have two iPhones. I kept my last old one, my 7, and I got this 13. And I have my Mac. But if you own any Mac products, or Apple products, I should say, give me an Apple emoji. Okay. Now, as you know, thank you, AP Jackson. Apple trademarks everything, right? If anybody got the 14, you know that they have like that little thing at the top called the dynamic carousel or whatever. That thing is trademarked. Apple trademarks everything. And sometimes they win and sometimes they don't. And when you are denied by the trademark, by the USPTO, you don't have to take their no as the final answer. You can always appeal, right? Hi, I am her. Oh, what a beautiful name, Natalie. You can always, appeal. And Apple recently tried to file a trademark for something called a smart keyboard. Smart keyboard, right? So they tried to file the application for smart keyboard, and the USPTO said no because it's too generic. So now Apple is suing the USPTO, or at least, appealing and saying, look, how is this prove that it's generic? Or they're trying to prove to the USPTO that it's not generic. So I want to know from you guys, one, have you ever heard the term smart keyboard? And whether you have or you have not, do you think that smart keyboard is something that should or could be trademarked? Now, when I think of smart keyboard, I of course immediately think of smartphone. You can't trademark smartphone. That's just a generic term at this point. But do you think that we are in a significant early part of the Hey Ray the publicist? Do you think that it is early enough in the game where Apple can claim, ownership of the phrase smart keyboard? While it may not be in the public dialogue, I'm sure it's going to come up. Just like smartphones, smartphones weren't everywhere till they were everywhere, right? So I guess Apple is trying to, get in on the ground floor and hold smart keyboards for themselves. So do we think that Apple should be able to trademark smart keyboard? I will tell you guys, I don't believe that they should be able to, right? I agree with the USPTO. When I think smartphone, I think a phone that has internet capability, that I can do a lot of things with. A smart keyboard is probably going to have some type of, connectivity, can do all sorts of things with. I think there's already kind of a base knowledge, a base level of knowledge when it comes to smart things, right? Like we have smart homes where you'll have a system that is, managing your whole house. You might have a smart car. You might have, I don't know, what else do we put smart in front of? But I just think that smart at this point, if the game, when you put it in front of some type of device, we already kind of have an image of what it is. So in my mind, it is generic. But do you guys see differently? Do you think differently? Let me know what you think. Okay. Um, okay. Before we move on to our other stories, I want to remind you guys that you are watching or listening to NPL Legal Dish. This is my usually Monday broadcast, but today it's on Tuesday broadcast, where I teach business and legal concepts using pop culture and celebrity news. If you are in the startup phase of your business and you're looking for legal guidance on, just how to make yourself legit so you can be out in these streets with confidence when you walk into those boardrooms, link up with me. Go to linktr.ee/NPL consulting firm and use your and book your free 15-minute consultation today. Okay. All right. Moving on to our next story of the evening. How many of y'all watched Tiger King? If you watched Tiger King, give me a tiger emoji. Now, when I tell y'all, I did not expect Tiger King to draw me in like that. Okay, I was very surprised, but like most of the people who had access to Tiger King, I was enthralled. And Joe Exotic inspired a lot of stuff. But at the end of the day, Joe Exotic, he's a real person who was serving time in prison. Okay. Now, if you watch Tiger King, you know that when Joe was, at his height, he was releasing music. He had a lot of songs about tigers. And one of the things that came out in the film was that Joe was not the one singing the songs. He actually hired a singer, like Milli Vanilli style, a guy named Vince Johnson. He hired him to sing the songs, but nobody was supposed to know about Vince, right? But because of Tiger King and its popularity, Vince Johnson, he gained some popularity and he has been able to use that to, book himself shows and make money. So now Joe Exotic is suing Vince Johnson for violating their agreement because he said, look, people weren't supposed to know about you. He says, Joe says he's being exploited. He's like, this was supposed to be my thing. You were supposed to be a secret. And now you're out here booking shows and I'm in here in prison. Do we think that Joe Exotic has a case here? Is it Joe's fault? I mean, is it Vince's fault that people found out that he was the one actually singing for Joe Exotic? And if it wasn't his fault, should he have to turn down paying work because of this agreement that he had with Joe Exotic? When you sign a non-disclosure agreement, right, or when you sign a confidentiality agreement, it only holds up if the information does not become publicly available. Okay, so if someone tells you, hey, makes you sign a confidentiality agreement, but let's say, I don't know, somebody's doing some investigative journalism and that information gets out, it's not your fault, right? And if you benefit from that because it got out some way, that is not your fault because you didn't put that information out there. So for one, I don't think that Joe has a credible lawsuit against Vince Johnson. But I mean, what else is Joe gonna do? He in prison. He ain't getting out no time soon. But yeah, Joe Exotic feels exploited because the man that he paid to be the ghost singer on his albums has been discovered and is booking shows. Okay. So let me know what you feel about that. Do you think that Vince is Vince, violating their confidentiality agreement, or is he just, trying to make his paper? What do y'all think? What do y'all think? Okay. All right. Um, Moving on to our next story of the evening. If you have ever had a Red Bull, give me a lightning bolt emoji. If you've ever had a Red Bull, give me a lightning bolt emoji. We all know that, like I've realized that I've become really sensitive to caffeine. So I had some coffee. I had coffee Friday and I had coffee Saturday. I had them both in the afternoon, late afternoon, right? And Saturday, when I tell you that my brain was buzzing, and then the next day on Sunday, I just felt like a crash. So I'm trying to limit my caffeine intake, okay? But, most of us have had at least one Red Bull in our life, right? And we know what the logo is. Now, if you didn't know, Red Bull began in Austria. That is a European country. They speak French and some other stuff. Anyway, so Red Bull, they do a lot of things. Not only do they have their energy drinks, but they also sponsor events. They have the Red Bull Flugtag and other things, and they also sponsor different sporting events. And on the same side, there is a small company in England called Bullards. Bullards, Bullards. They are a gin maker. Okay, they make gin. Now this company, it's small, and they have recently started venturing out outside of gin. They're making energy drinks. They're sponsoring events, and they are also making non-alcoholic beverages. And Red Bull tried to sue them for trademark infringement, or at least send them a cease and desist. No, they did sue them. They did sue them. They filed an opposition, and they said that because they were using the word bull in their name, there was going to be confusion between Hey C4C Global. There was going to be confusion between Red Bull and Bullards. What do you think the UK Intellectual Property Office said to Red Bull when Red Bull said Bullards shouldn't be able to trademark their name? What do you think they said? What do you think they said? Red Bull versus Bullards. Red Bull versus Bullards. Do you think the intellectual property court sided with Red Bull or sided with Bullards? I won't keep you in suspense. The United Kingdom. Hey, that's Mrs. B. The United Kingdom International Property Office. They said, Red Bull, what are you talking about? This is ridiculous. Nobody in their right mind is going to confuse Bullards with Red Bull. Okay. Now for the gin makers, Bullards, they said, a lot of people told them you should just do what Red Bull asked you to do. Change the name because Red Bull has deep pockets, right? So we've talked about this before, trademark bullying. A lot of companies, especially when they have a lot of money, they will use the fact that they have a lot of money to try and, push smaller companies to the side, get them to change their name. All of this bullying. Monster Energy Drink is one of the most notorious ones. But just because, a larger company asks or demands that you do something doesn't mean that you have to. This company, Bullards, they said, we wanted to stand up to Goliath even though we didn't have those deep pockets, and we won. So if you're ever in England, look for Bullards brand energy drinks and non-alcoholic beverages. Okay. What do you mean paused? Okay. All right. Let's do one more before we go to break, okay? So this is a really important question. I'm sure you have all seen Mr. West in the news lately, right? And his behavior has been less than stellar, and it's caused him to lose a lot of deals, money, whatever. Especially his Adidas deal. Now, Adidas, they're the ones that produce Kanye's Yeezys, and whatever. right? I don't know why y'all like them. They're ugly. Anyway, but because Adidas has cut their deal with Kanye due to him violating their morals clause, um, there is this big battle that's going on. Adidas, they own the designs to Kanye's shoes, right? His slides and the regular Yeezys. Kanye owns the name Yeezy, right? And Kanye is planning on, designing new things that he can put out on the market. Adidas thinks that their name recognition and the design of the shoes alone will carry, and that they will still be able to sell at least near the same volume of shoes that they were able to sell when they could put the name Yeezy on those shoes. So now they're going to be selling the same shoes, but they can't use the name Yeezy. Do you think Adidas is going to be able to sell the same volume of shoes, hey Mrs. Essence BC, at the same price point now that they can no longer put the name Yeezy on the shoes? Right? And on the other side, do you think that, the new now Kanye is going to come out with new Yeezy stuff that's going to have new designs? Do you think that the Yeezy name is enough to get people to buy the new designs that Kanye will put out? So one, do you think Adidas can maintain the supply and demand for Yeezys now that they can no longer use the Yeezy name? And the same thing for Kanye. Do you think that Kanye is going to be able to, keep up the momentum because he's keeping the Yeezy name? What do y'all think? What is the value of the name Yeezy? That's what we're coming down to here. Ooh. Ooh. Excuse me. What y'all think? Now, Kanye's fan base, I'm not gonna say nothing unkind. Let's just say he has a very loyal fan base, right? And they'll pretty much buy anything that he makes. Adidas, they have come up in the last few years because of their collaborations. They've got Ivy Park with Beyonce. They had Yeezy. I'm not sure who else they collaborated with, but Adidas has been doing very well because of their collaborations, and Yeezy was one of their most profitable collaborations. As a matter of fact, I think they said they lost about $250,000 the first day by ending their collaboration with Kanye West. So I don't think that putting out the former Yeezys is going to really help Adidas, because frankly the shoes were ugly and people only bought them because they had Kanye West's name on them. And because Kanye West has such a loyal following, I think that they will, be into whatever he wants to introduce to the market. But we will have to wait and see about that. Okay? All right. Before we move on to our final stories, I want to remind you guys that you are watching NPL Legal Dish. This is my Monday broadcast, but today it's on Tuesday, where I teach business and legal concepts using pop culture and celebrity news. Okay, if you need a legal professional to help you get your business paperwork together, call your girl. Go to linktr.ee/nplconsultingfirm and book yourself a free 15-minute consultation today. Okay, all right. So, if you are a child of the 80s, 90s, whatever, even the 2000s, you most likely know who Bill Nye is. Bill Nye taught a lot of us about science on the weekends, Saturday mornings, and did it in a fun way. And Bill Nye is still in the zeitgeist today. He has like specials on Netflix. I see him on TV shows. He's a pretty cool guy. And because Bill Nye is a cool guy, like any person who's cashing in on their coolness, He sells merch. He has a company called Bill Nye Productions where, he sells Bill Nye merchandise. But as much as he is a scientist, Bill Nye is a businessman, and he's not going to let you take his stuff. Bill Nye, through his production company, has filed a trademark infringement suit against several online retailers for selling knockoff Bill Nye merchandise, okay? They said that these knockoff merchandisers are pulling in about $135 billion in sales per year between them, selling fake, cheap Bill Nye knockoffs. And Bill said, "I want my money." So Bill Nye is going after these counterfeiters. This is why, when you are a brand, it is your job to monitor your mark. Okay, the USPTO is not going to come to Bill Nye, even though everybody knows what Bill Nye is, and say, "Hey, somebody's using your mark." It's because Bill Nye has a team. It's their job to look out for him, for his name. They found it. It is your job as the trademark owner to make sure nobody is using your name without your permission. Okay, all right. So good luck to Mr. Nye. Hey, Nerdy Nurse 39. Okay, moving on to our next story. Do we have anybody here who, is from the state of Missouri? Okay, the state of Missouri, please. I'm not sure what the status of cannabis is in Missouri right now. I don't know if it's, I know it's not legal yet. It may be decriminalized. Anyway, there is legislation that is on the ballot in Missouri to legalize cannabis use, right? And to support this legislation and get people to vote for it, of course, there are commercials being run on Missouri television. And one of these ads was an ad, it was basically saying that if they were to legalize cannabis in the state of Missouri, it would help the Missouri police force. And to reinforce that, they had video image of a Missouri state trooper in full uniform. Missouri state troopers found out about this and were not too happy, and they got the commercial pulled from the airwaves. Why do you think the Missouri state troopers did not want this ad on the television? And how did they get it taken down? What was it about the ad that allowed the Missouri state troopers to be able to get this ad taken down? What do you think? Okay, I'm not gonna hold you, but think about when you are in the military or something like that, right? You're not allowed to give your opinion on political issues, right? Same thing with the police. By having someone in an ad for legislation in a police uniform, you are, effectively saying that the police support this legislation. And the Missouri State Police cannot take sides in political, debates. Their job is to enforce the law, not impact legislation. So the Missouri Police Department and Missouri State Troopers, because there was someone in that ad that had a Missouri State Trooper uniform on, they used their trademark rights in that uniform to get the ad taken down. Okay, that is the power of intellectual property. If you use somebody's stuff the wrong way, they can get yours taken down. Okay, so you need to be careful whose things you are using on the internet. Just because it's out there doesn't mean you can use it with no repercussions. Okay. All right. And the last story I'm going to leave you with is for my friends. Again, this is also related to cannabis legalization. So as we get closer and closer to legalization in multiple states, right? I know, especially those of you who like edibles, You have seen, these packages of cannabis infused candies that use the names of some of our most treasured, childhood sweets like Skittles, Sour Patch Kids, Airheads, all of those, right? Well, in North Carolina, there was a seizure at a tobacco shop, the High Point Tobacco Shop. The police seized over $50,000 worth of infused candies that were, they were packaged in um, in packaging that basically infringed trademarks. Candy companies don't want the cannabis companies using their marks. They are candy companies. They're marketing to children. So absolutely under no certain circumstances do they want cannabis companies even slightly resembling their packages. So they found out this business was selling these these cannabis infused products with these very well established trademarks, and that shop had to give over its inventory of $50,000, and they're not getting that back. So that store is out $50,000. Can you, as a business owner, afford to just give up $50,000 because you weren't honoring intellectual property rights? Y'all need to be careful what products you're out here selling, okay? Yes. So those are the stories that I'm going to leave you with tonight, guys. As you can tell, my voice is leaving me. I don't know if it's been the change in weather or because, I was in the streets all weekend. But your girl got to go, rest my vocal cords, drink some water, and drink some tea. So I will talk to you guys next week. If you have any stories that you want me to talk about next week, please send them to my inbox. I love it when you send me stories. Also, if you are looking for legal help, whether it be setting your business up, getting your contracts, having your contracts reviewed. I had a client earlier today. They got an offer letter from a company and they just wanted to make sure they understood everything that was going on. I can help you with that too. So link up with your girl. If you missed any of the show, make sure to catch the replay, and I will see you next week. Bye. All right.